Well, it's time now for perspective. The Spanish North African enclave of Ceuta to the north of Morocco is one of only two places where Africa shares a land border with the EU. Last week, Ceuta drew the attention of the world after more than 8,000 people crossed into the enclave illegally after Morocco appeared to relax border controls. What ensued was a humanitarian crisis, with two would-be migrants drowning during their attempt to cross and hundreds of unaccompanied minors still in Ceuta. Several thousands have been returned to Morocco. My guest today is Esteban Beltran, Director of Amnesty International Spain. Thank you very much indeed for being with us here on France 24 today. Could you please start by telling us what the situation is currently like right now in Ceuta?
Well, it's apparently it's quiet in terms of what's happened last week, but behind that, there is several concerns in relation to human rights. Still, the situation of minors is in difficult circumstances. They are not in adequate situation now. We know that the government is making efforts to try to allocate in the best interest of the children approximately about 600 minors that are still in Ceuta. Still, it is our concern. We wrote the 24th of May to the Ministry of Interior in Spain with concern about the pushback that still are happening in Ceuta, and still are the police raids of people in hiding that they don't want to ask international protection because feel fear to be expelled to Morocco. So the situation is still we are really concerned. In practical terms, the asylum situation, the asylum procedures, which is within the law, are suspended, seems to have suspended. So still there are several concerns in relation to human rights in Ceuta.
And in the coming days and weeks, what is likely to happen to these unaccompanied minors on Spanish soil?
Well, what we are, all the organizations in contact with the Spanish government, is first to allocate the 200 minors that were already before this crisis in Ceuta and be allocated in other places in Spain. And still we will have about 400 children, unaccompanied children, that needs to be allocated, and probably we will have some minors want to come back to Morocco. But in this case, it's the responsibility also of the Spanish government to ensure that the return to Morocco is in adequate conditions. So still there is a lot of uncertainty. What is really concerned Amnesty is that seems that in Ceuta, if there is a massive entry of people, the human rights procedures are suspended. This is what really we are concerned for next time. We are in contact with the government asking why it's possible that it's happening now.
And how is it that children as young as 7 and 8 in some instances have managed to arrive alone in Ceuta? Were you surprised at the numbers of children we saw coming into Ceuta last week?
Yes, what we documented is that the Moroccan government plays a political expounds the political game with these children and with all citizens and with all respect to their own lives, And I think this is the responsibility of initiating this incident, this situation is from Morocco, and we are really concerned that use their own citizens and spouses in the political game. So this is why we think that children and other citizens arrived so quickly in massive numbers to Ceuta last week.
And what does Amnesty believe are the main reasons for these migrants making the sometimes perilous, sometimes deadly journey into Ceuta? What are the main reasons driving this mass influx?
Well, there are two kind of people that is wanting to go to Ceuta and Melilla. One is the economic situation. The economic situation is dramatic in the border. The border has been sealed with Spain, between Spain and Morocco. So the economic situation is really dramatic. There is no employment, etc., and this is one of the reasons. The other group of people that is going to Spain through these North African enclaves is people that ask for asylum. For example, we don't know if Yemeni people, that is scores of Yemeni people that ask asylum, what's happened with them in this crisis. So these are the two kind of people that want to enter in Ceuta and Melilla.
Now, we've just learnt from a new report that at least 743 migrants are known to have died in the Mediterranean this year, although, of course, the real figure is likely to be much higher. Whose responsibility, which organisation, which countries, which organisations' responsibility is it primarily to stop lives being lost in the Mediterranean?
Well, I think it's a combination of responsibilities. No, one is obviously the government that expelled these people, and there is no real. If, for example, there are human rights concerns and ask for asylum, obviously the responsibility for these people to flee is the government responsible for human rights violations. But once said that, is the responsibility of the European Union to ensure that there is legal ways to come to Europe and not staying, for example, for years now, for example, in Greece, or lost their lives in the Mediterranean, or now is people living to Canary Islands. Also, it is another route. Now, there is, in the end, we hope that the European Union can understand that the people will continue to come. They will continue to come for asylum or asking or living for economic situation, and should be a way that this situation is sorted out without risking the lives of the people. And this is why we need to respect human rights law, respect refugee laws, these kind of things. But European Union, the main policy of the European Union is, yes, to try to stop them, and if they arrive here, try to push back them to other countries. And these are actually the European policy in relation to refugees and Mediterranean lost.
And are you in any way optimistic that that EU policy will change in the coming years? Do you think there's enough political will?
Not for the moment. I don't think so. There is also a discussion on as you know, of policy immigration bill. Policy immigration bill in the European Union is restricted law. Is not addressing the main problem, why people is fleeing or leaving a country because of political reasons. So we need still a lot of work to do to try to convince the governments in Europe to respect international law. For the moment, I am not optimistic.
Esteban Beltran, Director of Amnesty International Spain. I'm afraid that's all we have time for right now. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on France 24 today.
It's a pleasure.